If you want to sell more on Instagram, you need Manychat. It's the easiest way to turn your audience into customers. Now, in this video, I'll show you 3 simple automations you can start using today that will get you more leads and more customers through Instagram. Now, as a bonus, I'll actually show you one automation which I've never seen before and is saving me thousands of dollars. Now, so let's get right into this. If you don't know me, my name is Philip and I help business owners and entrepreneurs build scalable client acquisition systems. So here is just a few screenshots from Manychat with thousands of leads that I used to generate. And here's another screenshot from Hyros tracking Manychat revenue at over 300,000 euros in revenue. Okay, so I've been using Manychat for a while. I use it for all my clients when they have organic audience. I really like to set up these funnels because it's a very easy way to leverage their organic audience and turn it into leads and customers. Okay, so if you have a business that have some kind of organic audience, and if you need leads, if you need more customers, if it's useful for you to sell through DMs, then Manychat is a great tool to use. So if you don't know what it is, it's basically, you've probably seen it on Instagram, it's a way to automate messages. And the way this works is basically you have a piece of content, which may be a post, may be a story. You can also use it, for example, on your bio. And people are going to send you a keyword, which is going to activate an automation of messages. So there are really 3 main ways you can do this. So number 1 is going to be comments. You've probably seen this before on Instagram. And how this works is basically when you do a post, you tell people, hey, if you want to learn more about this, if you want to get my X resource, if you want me to send you a link with Y, if you want access to this video, comment keyword. So whenever someone puts a comment in, Manychat is going to automatically send that person a message for them to access that resource. This is a really powerful tool on Manychat because it basically allows you to leverage your organic reach, which is not always just for our followers, and get them into your funnels. So for example, if you have a post that reaches a lot of your non-following audience that goes viral or something like that, or even if it doesn't go viral directly, but you're going to be reaching people who are not usually your followers, it's going to allow you to capture those leads into your funnels. So it's a really great way to bring more people into your business. Number 2 is going to be story replies. So story replies are going to be basically you ask people to reply to the story with a keyword, and then you're going to be automatically sending them a message. Now, the thing about story replies is that it's more tailored for your audience. So story replies are useful if you have something that is more relevant for the people that are already engaged with you. So if you have, let's say, for example, story replies can be useful if you want to get a more engaged audience, if you want to get more like booked calls, if you want to get basically someone who's already nurtured or more nurtured than, for example, comments. Because on comments, you're going to be reaching a lot of people. It's going to be top of funnel strategy like free resources, videos, etc. And story replies, you can do a bit more nurturing. So obviously you can still use the same strategy for comments and story replies, but I like to use story replies as a more nurtured approach. And then the third one is going to be messages. So messages are basically when someone just sends you a message, then you send them an automation. I personally like to connect messages with comments, so because what happens, or what I see happening is a lot of times people will not comment, but will send you the message directly on your profile with the comments, so I always like to have both. It's also very popular, for example, for bio description. So you might have on your bio, send me the word X if you want to a Y. So people go to your bio, they message you the word, and then enter your funnel. So those are going to be the 3 main ways that you can be using Manychat: comments, story replies, and messages. So that's going to get people into your funnel. It's going to activate. Now, what do you do then? There are basically 3 automations you want to run. One is going to be a very simple one, which is sending a direct link. This is one of the ones I use most often, especially when you have already, for example, a landing page, you have a lead magnet page, you have a YouTube video, whatever you want to do. This is going to be a very simple and a very straightforward approach. It's going to be, people are going to be commenting on something, they're going to be sending you a message, they're going to be sending you a story reply, then you're going to be sending a very simple message with a button directly to the page. Now, some people like to have this as a quick reply and then they send another message with a page. Personally, from what I've tested, this one just gets higher CTRs because if you have two messages, then they're going to be more drop-offs. So I personally just prefer to send them straight to a page. Do you send them the message? They click on it and then they go to a page, they go to a video, whatever it is. I usually just like to give them a tag and then if I can, this is not always possible, it depends on how they activated it, but I usually have a wait period and then I send them a follow-up message checking, hey, what do you think about the free resource? Let me know if you have any questions, just to keep them engaged. But it's a very simple process. They send a keyword, they put a comment in, they send a message, they get a message to access a certain page, and that's pretty much it. Very simple, but very effective. If you're already either collecting leads on a lead magnet page, or if you just want them sending, for example, for a YouTube video or something like that, it's the most effective, most direct way to use. Number 2 is going to be an email collector. This one is a little bit more complicated. Now, email collector is going to be same process, comments, messages, or replies. You're going to have an intro message. You're going to be tagging them too, and then this one is important. I don't see a lot of people doing this, but it's much better experience, is have a condition to set up if the email is already created or not. Now, if the person already gave you an email, there's no point on keep asking for the email. So if the person has an email, what you want to do is set up a message and say, hey, here is the free resource, here's your lead magnet, whatever you're giving them, and give them direct access. If they don't, then okay, what do you do? You say, awesome, glad here, something like that, and then just drop your best email here and I'll send you the link. And you just wait for them to get the email. Manychat automatically recognizes the email. If it's not, then they give an error message. And then once they reply, then you give them access to the lead magnet. Very simple, very straightforward. In these cases, what you can also do is you can set up an automation or a separate message in case they don't respond. So if they don't respond, you can send a second message to them, hey, I noticed that you didn't put your email in. Are you still interested in getting this free resource? And then just ask them a question to keep them engaged. So very simple way, but overall a very simple automation tool. It's a little bit more complex, but if you want to collect emails directly on the platform, those work really, really well too. So it's a very simple, very direct automation for collecting emails inside Instagram. The third one, I personally don't use this very often, but it's going to be a lead qualifier. So a lead qualifier, what you want to do is if your business needs to filter the leads that you speak with, or if you have different resources for different types of leads, you can have a lead qualifier on the Manychat itself. So for example, people send a comment, they send a message, and then you may ask a question to identify which either resource would be suitable for them or what's their lead quality. Now, I personally don't use this very often because in most cases our lead qualification processes are done on a later stage, but in certain cases this might be useful to you. So you might have, you might just have, for example, here in this case it's just revenue, or followers. You can just ask different questions, different buttons to identify lead quality, and then you send them resource which matches the lead quality. So for example, if you have, let's just say that you're doing this for videos and you have a beginner video, you have an intermediate video, and you have an advanced video. Depending on their level, then you're going to be sending the right resource. Or it can be just for you on the back end, it can be the same resource for everyone, but then you know on the back end that, hey, this lead is high quality, maybe I want to follow up with them, and it just give you a bit more information. So it's also lead qualifier automation. I personally don't use it very often, but it's a very easy way to just qualify your leads if that's relevant for you. Now, the one I'm going to show you next is one which I personally haven't seen being used before, but it's saving me thousands of dollars. and basically is a list cleaning automation. Now, basically, if you're familiar with email marketing, you've probably heard about list cleaning. And the idea is that you want to clean your list regularly. So usually for the case of emails is if someone doesn't open your emails, if someone doesn't click on your emails, if someone is not engaging with your emails in any way, then after a certain period of time, you would just start cleaning that list. And a good way to do that is, for example, you see, hey, this person hasn't engaged, hasn't opened, hasn't clicked, hasn't visited my site in 6 months. I will just send them an email. Hey, I noticed you haven't engaged with us. Are you still interested in X, Y, and Z? If so, click here. If not, you tell them that they're going to be unsubscribed from the list. It's just a way to keep your list clean. So if someone is not engaged with you, if someone's no longer interested in you, if someone hasn't done anything for your business in 6-12 months, then you just remove them from the list. And I like to do the same on Manychat when I can and when it's possible, when it's relevant. So the reason I would usually do this is because twofold. One, to keep the list clean, but a big one is usually if you want to just save some money, because Manychat is paid by contacts, and once you start getting to a certain point when you have a lot of contacts, then you're just going to be paying hundreds of dollars for contacts, which maybe you're just not using, and especially on Manychat, because for emails, okay, you keep reaching out to people, right? So you keep engaging with them. You have their contact, and you keep sending them emails regularly on a basis. You have their contact data. But on Manychat, like in most cases, you're not sending frequent messages to everyone. There are ways to do that, but most people are not doing that. So you just have their contact. You're just paying for someone for basically nothing. I mean, there are certain cases, and I'm going to talk to about this in a second, but in most cases, you're just paying for contacts which are not doing anything for your business. So that's why I like to keep my list clean. And actually, yeah, that's a good example, which I wanted to show you here, which is basically, in this case, for example, this person was actually keeping asking me about an email. So for example, you see here on the first, it asked me for my best email, and then here it asked me for my best email again. Now, they usually keep it two cases for this. One is if it doesn't just have an automation that we discussed before, right? So here, if it doesn't have this setup of checking if the email or not, another option is precisely what I'm going to show you here, is if they're cleaning the list, if you're deleting the content. So that's why sometimes you might have to think about, does it make sense or not? Because once you delete the contact, you basically delete that information, right? And even though you're going to be removing it from Manychat, email is going to be stored on your email provider, so it's not as useful, but it can reduce your customer experience a bit. But the idea is the following, is that when a contact is created, you wait for a certain period. In this case, for example, I set up for wait 3 days. I check when was their last interaction, and I would just delete the contact. And I'm doing this on a frequent basis. So I do 3 days, I do 3 days again, and I just keep doing it. And by 1 week, I basically just delete everything. And the reason for that is that in most cases, I'm not using the contact details for anything. There are exceptions. So if, for example, I have a DM list, then I would set up an automation here to basically check if they are enrolled in a DM list or not. But generally, what I'm doing is I'm putting people through a funnel, and I keep deleting them. So it's not filling my Manychat space with just single messages, right? Especially because if I'm not collecting emails, I don't need those contact details on Manychat. I'm not using a lot, so I basically just keep them deleting them. Now, if you have a different setup, it might not be useful for you. If you're collecting emails, then you really have to decide if it makes sense for you to make that trade-off, where you're basically just deleting the contacts, or if you want to keep them to give them a better experience, depending on how many new people you have coming in and how many repeated messages you have. So it really depends on your funnels. but this is a very simple way that you can just reduce your Manychat bill just by keep cleaning your list. Okay, so setting up some kind of automation, it doesn't need to be this complex. What you can do is you can just have a contact and just wait 5 days and just delete everyone. I just like to keep checking this just to make sure, so I can see the different stages where they go through. But it really depends on you. But what you want to have is a way to just clean your list on a regular basis, so you're not basically being billed for inactive contacts on Manychat. That's pretty much it. If you want access to these automations, I have them pre-built, so just send me a message on Instagram and I'll send those automations to you. And I have another video on Facebook ads and how I've spent over $1 million in ads. I think it could be useful for you because you can also just use Facebook ads to promote your organic content and reach more people and keep them connecting here with Manychat, which will get you more leads. So hope this was helpful and see you in the next one.